Well, hey, Jackie.
What's up?
How are you?
Good.
Thanks coming on the show.
So happy to
I'm
be here.
super excited for this one.
Awesome.
Let's jump right into it. What's your background? So you're a stunt performer,
Yes.
actress,
Stunt performer, actress. Yeah.
How did you get started? But before you get into like the industry part, like what's your background in terms of the physical prep for that? Is probably goes hand to hand with,
The
stunt performing.
Yeah. That's a good question. I started martial arts when I was around 11, so a little later. Some people start when they're like 4.
Yep.
But before that, I was kind of like overweight. I was really into computers, just stayed inside, and then
Nerd.
yeah, for sure. And then I remember my friend was talking about seeing we had like one dojang. It's the Korean they call like a dojon type. It's dojang in Korean. One dojang in our hometown.
What is it again?
Dojang. It's like a studio, like martial arts studio.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay. Like a gym.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And we had like one in our hometown. It was like on the main street. My friend was like, I saw them doing handstands.
Where's your hometown?
Battle Creek, Michigan.
Battle Creek, Michigan. Shout out to Battle Creek,
What's
Michigan.
up, Cereal
What's
City?
up?
Let's go.
There you go.
We have, and my friend saw some like people doing handstands. She was like, "Yeah, they're like doing handstands in there." I was like, "I kind of want to learn how to do a handstand. That sounds fun." And I told my mom, and right away she was just like, "You want to go check it out?" And I was like, "Sure." And I like
You're
showed
what,
up.
like 11?
11, yeah, 10, 11. And I showed up, and everybody was so nice to me there, and like immediately welcomed me in. And I was like, we were like jumping and kicking a bag like the first day, and I was like, it's great. And I think my mom was just happy that I was like out of the house doing something. And from there, it like completely changed my life. Like I lost like the weight in like a year. I became way more confident. Yeah, I instantly started meeting new friends. It was just like I will thank my mom and martial arts for changing my life for like the rest of my
So
life.
you've had support from your family, your mom.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
Yeah, I
amazing.
wouldn't have been able to do it without her. So yeah, so Taekwondo is my background.
Taekwondo.
Yeah, and I've been doing that, and I still do that. So it's a lot of kicks, some Hapkido. So
Do any kickboxing?
I mean, I do boxing now. So if I combine them,
Right,
no,
Taekwondo
but
and
not like Muay Thai. I haven't trained Muay Thai too much if we were to get like technical, but and I was more of like a forms competitor, so I didn't really like the fighting. We had a lot of good fighters in my dojang, so by being by them, you get good at it, but I never wanted to compete in fighting. I just competed in forms, so I got a couple world medals from a Hapkido tournament.
You got what?
Uh-oh. Yes, I can try again.
Sirius said, yeah, I was going to say, what? Can you say that?
Serious?
Hold on. You like,
She's feisty.
yeah, I know. But you like skimmed over the world, like, hold on. Like,
Yeah.
no. Back that up. Back that up. What?
The World Hapkido tournament came to Battle Creek, and one of my good friends that I played golf with in high school, her dad like brought the tournament. He's like a big Hapkido master. So like Hapkido is like Korean judo. They do a lot of like they'll do kicking, but they do a lot of throws and joint arm manipulations and stuff. So they came, and then they're like, you guys should compete. And so I competed in 2 categories there. One was like competitive kicking, where you do like everybody does the same 4 kicks on a paddle, and then you do like you show off like 3 kicks. And I got bronze in that, and then I got silver in adult forms. So
I bet you'd be really good at that. You know that bar bag, that little thing that you can kick it or hit it.
yeah,
I bet you're the one who always
Oh,
is with the
man.
group, and it was like, Jackie, your turn.
I heard they like yell at you if you kick it though. So I'd be like,
No, there's
Oh,
ones that you can kick.
oh, for real?
They
yeah, I'd
have
love
better
to find
ones
that.
too. They have like pads that come down, like they're different levels,
Oh,
and they're for
yeah.
kicks and for everything.
Oh man, yeah. If you know where one is, I'd love to throw it out.
It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah.
So, but I wouldn't go with you because you probably kick my ass. So I'm a competitor by heart.
Oh yeah, I think we both are.
So, yeah, there you go. Hey, but something I would like you to elaborate on is, so obviously modeled this show based on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
And one thing that he talks about quite a bit is how much martial arts can help children, kids to, first of all, healthy, mental discipline overall, and there's a ton that he talks about. But first thing you said, hands down, it changed your life.
Yeah.
You want to talk about that a little bit, because I
Oh my
think
God,
that's
yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. Man, Like for example, like when I first started, I like didn't even know how to do like a simple like
Somersault.
yes, I was gonna say forward roll exactly like shoulder roll, and it was like me and this other girl, and my instructor, Master Kwong, Grandmaster Kwong actually now, he just like spent the entire time, got a beanbag, spent that entire time teaching us, and like just doing that and having someone believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that gives you a lot of confidence,
Mm-hmm.
and it's cool because you see, we had a woman there we all called her Grandma, and just seeing her like at a test to break a board with her elbow, like like oh my god, Grandma, like so cool. I think just seeing like other people like achieve those goals is huge, and of course you learn when you're there. Like it's always good to have like good grades. He'll ask you like,
How you
what's your
doing in
grade?
school?
Yeah, and if
Mm-hmm.
people came and they're like, my son got suspended today, it would be a big like he'd be like someone would be in the push-up position all class, and you're like, oh well, I'm gonna get good grades. I don't want to like be that guy. Yeah. And then I remember one class, my instructor was talking to me and this other girl who were overweight. He's like, okay, I want you guys to like, you guys can do this, you just have to lose a little bit of weight. Like he was just honest with us, like, and we're just like, and
Yep.
I
You're like, yeah,
no
no
one
bullshit.
but who else is going to tell you that, you know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And he's just like, you guys are going to eat before you come, and then when you go home, don't eat any more sweets. Maybe if you want anything, have water or tea. And I like religiously did that, and I saw results in like, I don't know,
Few months.
yeah. And I was like a little kid, I was like 10, 11, but like that changed the whole, like people at my school used to bully me. I don't know if it was like Tom Green or something had a show where he would throw food at fat people, but that happened to me in class. Like these girls sat there and like threw brownies at me, and I just cried, and they felt bad. But I still remember that to this day, like getting bullied. And after that, the same girls next year were like, "You look so good," and I'm like, "Thanks." Like, why are you talking to me? Like, you're so mean.
Why are you so
Oh
mean?
God.
Isn't it funny? Kids are so weird. Kids are so funny in a way, like, and creative. Those fuckers will find a way to bully somebody
I
for
know.
anything. So listen, there's so many different layers of different levels of bullying. I was always the tallest one
Yeah.
in my class by like a foot,
Yeah.
right? Growing up, like I was in the fourth grade, and everybody was like these tiny, and then this giant. Who is this guy that's repeating like for the fifth time,
Oh
fourth grade,
no.
or something? And yeah, I didn't think of it as bullying back in the day, because it was just like a thing that was kind of fun. Like it was just people were just making fun of how tall I was.
Yeah.
And I'm
What would they?
6'7" now. Like calling you name, like look at the giraffe, and the things. Kids will find, if you give them just a speck of a reason, they'll find a way.
Which is crazy because it's like you're so tall. Like you wouldn't think they would mess with you, but they still found.
Well, it wouldn't be physical.
Yeah,
It would be a mental. It would be like a verbal thing.
which I think is almost worse.
It is worse.
Yeah.
By far, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like there's like what defense you. There's no real defense. You can just kind of block it. It's you have to discipline yourself mentally for that. If it's physical, then you can do martial arts, and you can get confidence, and you can take care of yourself, protect
Yeah.
yourself from bullying.
Yeah.
But yeah, well, that's why I wanted to ask. I was curious to hear, because martial arts has this weird, humbling, yet like very empowering and addictive, right?
Yeah.
So like you go there, and you're saying you were a little overweight, and you're like you can't do some of these things, but there's a grab from the martial arts that like this is like addictive, almost like playing video games. It's literally and
Yeah.
humbling at the same time. Like
Yeah.
for example, doing jiu-jitsu a little bit, you know, I'm 6'7", I'm pretty strong, been athletic kind of my whole life.
Yeah.
Once you get into sitting jobs, you start gaining weight where you don't want to. We all know that, but
Mm-hmm.
tapping out like 4 times a week,
You're like,
you're like,
are you serious?
and like I've tapped out many, many, many times
Yeah.
by a woman, by a
Oh
girl.
yeah. Hell yeah.
Like, when I first started white belt, blue belt, like, well, I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
All
It's
right,
so
tap
hard,
in.
like working on production and then trying to get your training in.
Yeah.
It's so
Yep.
hard. Yeah.
Absolutely. But the humbling experience of it is, yeah, I need that. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah. No
Yep.
matter how hot
Yep.
you think you are,
Nope.
someone's
It's like,
can be slick. Yeah.
fuck you. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, there you go.
Yeah.
But
I think the same thing at the same time, like, yeah, I couldn't do those things, but there are things that I could do. Like, I would get there and I could, like, remember the moves for this form. And that's why I fell in love with that. And I was like, okay, I can't kick high yet, but I can, like, remember all, like, 20 moves of this pattern. And this other person's still struggling with the first, like, 5. Like, I got that on them. You know, it's always some type of,
absolutely.
like,
Yep.
yeah, little competition. Like, oh, man, they can kick me in the head, but they can't remember these 20 moves. So, yeah, I think that there's so many different aspects of it. Like, even with jiu-jitsu, like, maybe you're not good, you don't have any, like, chokes or something, but you know how to escape side control, and you're like, oh, I got that.
Or
Like,
certain
yeah,
guards
or,
and
you
whatnot.
know, like, there's
Yeah.
always something
I
to
have
choose.
long limbs,
Yeah,
so it's hard to get, like, you know,
yeah, but
grabs.
you do mean triangle though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm also pretty heavy. Like,
Yeah.
I just lost some weight recently, quite a bit actually. But I was, even when, like, right now I'm like 238. You know,
That's pretty. Yeah, that's
but
pretty
I
good.
was 260.
Oh yeah.
I'm 6'7", 6'7 3/4", so almost 6'8".
Yeah.
And you know, when you lay on somebody, like, a lot of times I would just let them burn their energy
It
on
takes.
just
Yeah.
try to move me.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, I don't even really need to try to do anything. I'm just gonna hold you until you burn out a little bit, and then when I see the opening, I'll just sweep
You just give me.
your leg or something. Give me arm, give me a leg or something, and then
That's so smart. But I used to roll with this guy who would do that. But he would, like.
but you would hate it, right?
Yes.
Be like,
He
no,
would
like,
lean.
do a thing, do something. This is supposed to be jiu-jitsu. You're not supposed to just fucking.
I know, but he would, like, lean with his, like,
Yeah.
on my throat, and I remember the instructor being like, because I was new, he's like, okay, you're gonna roll with him today, all right? This is like, I was like, oh man, because there's only a few of us in class, but he would be like, okay, today's the day, just so you know, be ready. And it was just the whole time, just, like, feeling, like, out of breath, but like, all, like you said, all the weight on top of you is so rough. Like, yeah, definitely humbling. I'm like, all right, just survive for the whatever minute or whatever we're rolling. So yeah.
So your mom played a big role in encouragement into, like, yeah, martial arts. Do you want to try it? Let's do it.
Yeah.
And then you just jumped into it from like 10, 11 years old and kind of stayed in it
Yeah.
ever since.
Yeah. I stayed in that, and then even when I went to college, I wanted to continue. I in college I went down the kung fu route. Like, we had, like, a fair.
Wow.
Yeah. Shaolin
Like,
Long
anybody
Fist.
ever says kung fu, I'm just like, fuck.
Yeah.
You know, it just sounds so like mythical and so
Oh my God.
so, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
so
yeah.
like, out of this world. I'm like, like, that's on TV, dude. Nobody
Yeah,
does real
no
kung
one
fu.
Yo, yeah.
And it's like, it's real.
I was walking. We had, like, this club fair in college. I was walking around, and there's a guy, like a white dude, standing there with a Fu Manchu, and I saw.
What's that? Can you tell me? I just.
It's the mustache.
Oh, the one that
that
goes.
down, and it was gray.
Okay, so I know what that is from the animated movie Kung Fu Panda,
Yes.
where the rat grandmaster has those long whiskers.
Yep.
So that's what you're talking
Yep.
about.
It's in
So
real
that's
life.
a real thing.
That's a real thing. And I was just like,
I'm
I
learning
looked up.
so many crazy things here.
I was like, this is legit or not? You know what I mean? It's either
What's going
really
on?
good or. And I looked at the table. It said Kung Fu Club, and he had another dude standing next to him who was, like, thin but, like, still muscular. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I was like, yeah, I'm third Dan black belt in Taekwondo, and he's like, well, if you ever want to come try it out, it's usually good for, like, other arts to come and try it out. You might learn things a little faster, but it is different. And I get there, and I was just so frustrated because the movements are so different from Taekwondo. Taekwondo is very external. So, like, a lot of, like, kicks and punches you learn that way, but Kung Fu is internal. So
What does that mean?
yeah. I'm like, that's really a hard grasp concept. So, like, you use your dantian a lot, which is, like, it's like a lower center of gravity, and that's where you get your power from. So if you think like if you're gonna throw a punch, you're throwing it with
Your hips.
yes.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Lower
I would
center?
say yeah. It's more like your almost like the spot by your belly button.
Mm-hmm.
It's more there.
Mm-hmm.
That's like where all your movements come from.
Interesting.
And it takes a long time to even learn that. It took me like 2 years doing the Kung Fu Club to even I would like go home crying because I was like, I can't get it. It's everything's harder to remember. Like I'm getting beat up. Like I would come home with like bruises, and then would of course like drag ourselves with just our hands across the floor for like because there's a lot of conditioning, and then we'd throw up bricks and like catch bricks for our like crane hands and stuff like that. And I'm just like, this is so hard, but I'm gonna get it. And so when I finally that 2-year mark, I finally got like how to like oh, that block actually works now. I'm not getting punched in the face. I'm like, oh my God. So
I didn't know Kung Fu is such a combat, like.
yeah, Kung Fu, it's like Chinese boxing, pretty much.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Because I thought it was a lot of choreography too, or like a move.
Yeah. Yeah. So the style I did was Northern Shaolin long fist, and that's like very traditional, like Shaolin. So you're doing a lot of like I said, conditioning, and then chi sao, which is like sticky hands.
Which one is the one that like you hitting like, pieces of wood, not breaking the pieces of wood, but like, the one they like have the kids be standing on their head and doing the splits.
That's like a traditional Shaolin. And then, but a lot of the like demonstrative choreography ones, like that's I think wushu is what you're thinking of for that. But yeah, like the traditional where you see them in robes, that's definitely one of the Shaolins.
Yeah, I saw a guy, some Kung Fu master, to have a chain that somehow he was spinning underneath him. Mm-hmm. And then he made a perfect plank of his body, and he was bouncing off of his head and off of his feet as the chains.
Oh, like a jump rope underneath himself.
Underneath himself.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Face up.
Yeah, so he's like doing like a rubber band kip up. Yeah, and doing that. Yeah.
Like, what,
bro? What are you doing? Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah.
So how did you first get into, how was film introduced to you?
Oh, my mom again. She got me this.
Shout out to mom. What's mom's name?
Deborah.
Shout out to Deborah.
Mama G.
Mama G.
She there was like a toy catalog, Toys R Us or something, and I like circled a bunch of stuff and
Christmas next year.
Yeah, it was like a Fisher Price. It's like one of the first digital cameras. It could record like 30 seconds like digital clips, and you plug in your computer, and it came with the editing software. So I got that, and me and my friends, we would go downstairs, we'd put on music, do little music videos, and I was like, this is awesome. Love this. And it also came with stop motion, so I'd play with stop motion as well.
Were you introduced to like the part of making some videos first, or did you love watching movies?
I think I loved watching movies as well. Like,
would you ever watch like the behind the scenes of like how they made the movie as a kid, or like were you curious about where the camera goes, what the crew is all about, and who's the director, what does it all mean? Or
I don't know. I
just kind of watching the final product.
I watched Disney Channel a lot, and they would sometimes have like, use your camera, and if you want it to look like nighttime, you add a blue filter. Like they would say little tips like that. I still remember that. I was like, huh, interesting. But yeah, I think I was more into making it. Like
watched a lot of Disney Channel.
Lots of Disney Channel.
Cartoon Network.
Little
trivia thing. You know what is the #1 show in the world that has the most amount of violence per episode?
Dragon Ball Z?
Tom and Jerry.
What? Oh wait, no, that makes sense.
They're like from the beginning of whatever's happening in the thing, they're just going at each other. Always like, I was like, I loved it growing up. I never thought about it. I was like, that's what you put in front of you, like, kids. Hey, here you go. I love it.
Real talk though. Like, how could that mouse ever survive? Let's be honest. Like,
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'd be interested to watch Tom and
I don't
Jerry.
know. Would you call it violence? I mean, yeah, they're like trying to kill each other. Legit, like, and doing these traps and like things and pulling skin and burning and all this. Like,
oh my
And you're showing
Tarantino
this.
watches it and he's like, Jesus.
He's like, this is my next film. I'm doing that.
So yeah, anyway, little insert there where you're talking about that. But so
Yeah.
exposed to film, watching film,
Watching film. Jurassic Park, of course, was
Mhm.
yeah.
and then you have the so now you have
The little
combination of the martial arts. You're in college.
Well, so in high school, a teacher she's like, you should join my multimedia class. You know, like you'd probably really like it. And a lot of people just
And
take,
this is after you already had the little camera and
Yeah,
had some
little
experience with
camera.
making little clips and videos.
Yeah, and I
And you're like,
kind
I
of
really like this.
yeah, and I was like, still doing martial arts. And I joined cheerleading team, so I was kind of focused on that. So I kind of like got away from, like the little camera for a while, you know. But my multimedia teacher was like, you should join this class. I mean, a lot of people took that class so they could like sleep for an hour, but I got there and I was like, ooh, video editing again. This is like new technology, blah blah. So I got there and every year I would take it in high school. And then I was like, if I could go to college for this, that'd be sick. And so yeah, college. That was like,
Dude, this is like I want to talk about this a little bit because I wish, what a blessing or luck, whatever you would call it, is when you have that realization that something that you love to do, you realize like, I can do this and get paid,
yes,
or like I can do this for a living. Like,
Yeah.
this is a career. This is a possibility of a career.
yeah,
And it's like, well, I'm already like, nobody needs to convince me to get up and go and do this. I want to do this on my own, even if I wasn't paid for it, you know?
yeah. I remember talking to like a counselor and she was like, yeah, if that's what you want to do. She didn't, thinking back, I'm like, she didn't really know what I was talking about, I don't think, but I was like,
But
yeah,
she's like,
Phil.
yeah.
She's like, yeah, just go to college.
I-
That's all they always say, go to college.
I think everything that's been going on in the world recently in the last couple of years and everything, I think anybody who has, if you're doing something you love to do, you've already won.
Yeah.
That's it. There's no other, like, there's like, yeah, you can then do things. Maybe if you get successful and you're good at it, you might work on a projects like in the film industry, like bigger budgets. You can do more. You can work with other talented people and opens up certain doors. But if you genuinely love what you do and then if you love what you do, you're happy.
Yeah.
Never seen anybody do anything they love to do and not being happy. So like that's the win.
Yeah.
There's nothing else out there. And I really want to reiterate this for anybody listening. It's like, hey, if you genuinely love what you do and you're happy, forget everything else because none of that matters. Everything else will comes with it later.
Yeah.
Money, success, or not, but the exudes the energy of happiness and doing something that you love to do. That's the win. That's what everybody should strive to achieve in anything they do.
Yeah. I couldn't have said that better.
I feel so lucky
yeah.
to have won because I've been, I told you a little bit my journey, but then what happened to me is I became a working professional, but I wanted to be a director.
Yeah.
And then I would not be given the opportunity after 5-6 years to direct.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you're first AD. I was like, yeah, but I got in writing, directing, and winning this competition. Like I've learned so much.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
much.
it's like, why were you there if not to learn?
Well, what I'm saying, I've learned so much, but like, so I'm not hating on the time that I spent working as a first AD.
Yes.
What I was trying to say is like, I realized like, oh, it was really just for me to learn what sets about,
Yes.
How movies or TV or all of that is made, the relationships and the crew, what's everybody in charge of, whatnot. But I realized, there's no transition here. I have to stop, quit.
Yeah.
And after 5 years or almost 6 years, I kind of burned out of the working professional. And I was like, I haven't done anything creatively for so long. So I was just like, I'm done with Canada. Within 3 months, I packed everything, moved to US.
Hell yeah.
Started a whole nother business and kind of like started over. Did that for 6 years. And it was very successful business, but I was the most miserable I've ever been in my entire life. I was like, I had a company, we were manufacturing. It was manufacturing. I was doing like furniture manufacturing.
Yeah, I was going to ask
because
you
I had the trade school. At the time, my girlfriend, I was going to start a big SpaceX fan. right?
Okay.
Space
Yeah.
exploration. So I was like,
Yeah.
well, now I'm in America. I can maybe do something regarding that kind of a thing. So I wanted to open
Wow.
up a manufacturing that would somehow make some parts that would go into the rockets or some, be a part of the space exploration new
Wow.
frontier that SpaceX was working on. And they're like, no, no, no. You're a carpenter. You know carpentry. You're going to be great at it. Like, you can start that right away. And I was like, ah. So kind of, I don't want to say I got talked into it, but it was like, you can go get a job right now. You can do this, So I did that. And look, there were great moments. I enjoy architecture very much so, and design and all that.
Was this in the film industry at all? Like production design?
No.
No, it's just separate.
No, complete, like residential homes.
Oh,
like
what?
a high-end residential. And yeah, I just, like, this is a few years back. I just got so miserable. I was like, I don't want to do this. And everybody's like, how could you say that? Like, you're making so much money, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
Because now finally now I had the money and about all the stupid shit that you do and I'm like, I'm even more miserable than I was when I was chasing the money.
Yeah.
So I feel so lucky that I was given this eye-opening experience of having some wealth or having made some serious money early on, that I was able to, like, no, I want to, and I got rid of it. And within about a year, the company was gone and everything. My income went from this to almost nothing.
Wow.
And then I went on this search of like, oh, what am I going to do next? And I kind of completely forgot about filmmaking.
Wow.
Which was the whole thing I wanted to do my whole life. Always loved
Yeah.
movies and everything. But because I was a first AD for so long and never was, I just became this working professional. It was like, it was just really, it was hard. So then I went on this, like, okay, I'm going to find my passion, right?
Man.
Which is terrible.
Yeah.
Because after a month, I was like, oh, all right. 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. And I'm
It's
like,
what am I?
and then the
yeah.
pressure starts building up. It's been 6 months, Brian. You should have it figured out by now. And it was like, it took me like a year and a half.
Yeah.
I went to Hawaii. I took my parents there. We were there for 6 weeks, looking up the stars. I'm like, fuck, And the whole time talking to my dad about movies as we were since I was a kid, and this and that, and they're like, And then it was a friend of mine that said, all right, well, Brian, I know you, so a $10 million wouldn't be enough. But if somebody gave you $100 million, what would be the one thing you'd go do right now? Well, I'd definitely go make a movie.
Wow.
And that was it.
Automatically said that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I've always wanted to make a movie.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck.
There it is.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah.
So is that?
That's it. That was it. And then I just reached out to some connections that I had here in LA, and I said, I need to get back on set, meet people, make network here in LA. Because when I left Canada, I left all my experience networking and everything there. I also became a first AD, like, I was a first by the time I was 22 in the union.
That's insane.
Right. I was a trainee when I was like 20 turning, and I moved up so fast.
Yeah. I was like drinking and
It was
partying
a
at that
bunch
age.
of luck, and also the two people who were pushing me through were really behind me, and that really helped.
Does it take like 600 days to get?
So when you have two members of the union in good standing, they can sign you in. You can become a trainee.
Oh yeah.
So you can then join as a trainee.
Yeah.
And then if another position opens up, as long as you have somebody support you to sign off on your credit, then you can just, especially if you're like going on with a show.
Yeah.
And I had a third that moved out, then a second, and then eventually first. And TV shows, film one, there's two ADs, two firsts, right?
Mhm.
One crew's prepping, getting ready, and then one's,
For the next episode? Or
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Mhm.
But you have some of the shows, you have 22, 24 episodes in a season, right, for
Yeah.
the year. But long story short, sorry, I reached out, cast a net, and I got in back to the industry as an AD.
Wow.
But this time I knew that I'm only doing it to
Yes. That's important.
meet people. And because back then I just took whatever was given to me and I worked myself up, and I was on set, and I
Yeah.
loved it. I was like, this is what I wanted. Remember the first time you worked on like a big set?
Oh, yeah.
A real set, all the
How's that?
cameras and everything.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I had that, what do you call it? The eyes, the glasses, like everything was just,
Rose-colored glasses.
yes,
Yeah.
it
So
was
you're
like,
this
oh
is-
my
this
God.
is where I'm supposed to
And
be.
then
Yeah.
5 years later,
You're like, why? I
I'm
could be doing
like,
something else. Yeah.
yeah, and I'm also
But
like,
what is it?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly,
I
exactly.
totally get it.
Yeah.
I did the same thing with PAing. Like I did all this work on my friends' films, and so after college I moved to Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
I found some people there, and they're like, "Hey, you want to help us? You want to like AD for us?" And they're like little indie, low budget, like horror films, like some like short films and stuff. And I basically filled a gap that they needed. Like they needed someone to like help AD. And then of course, if it's only like 5 people on set, you're doing like more than just like
Mm-hmm.
rolling and that kind of stuff. So I was just like, all right, yeah. And I was like, maybe I want to be an AD, like cool. And then I just like, I don't know. I just was kind of there, I was like, this is fun. I love being on set. Like I'm with my
Was
friends.
this the first? Um, so your background in the martial arts, was this the first time where you got on set? Like, um,
Yeah, I'd say outside of college. Like
yeah.
I was
How
on.
did that happen? The transition from the college of like doing some of the stuff in college to where you actually were like, hey, like this is what a real set looks like, or
Yeah.
who offered you the first kind of door into the film industry?
Well,
Was it a PA job, like just come help us PA or something? Or
yeah, it was basically like because I wouldn't call them. They weren't big budget things. It's like my friends producing their own stuff. So, I guess from college, I worked at a news station in Michigan,
okay, it
and I was like, okay, this is cool. Like I like had a camera, like a 5D, and I would shoot some stuff with them and then edit it.
was a great camera.
Yeah, I know. I was like, cool. And then after a while, I was like, I don't know. It's not exactly what I want. And then I ended up getting fired, and I was like, okay. And my sister called me, and she's like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to leave. So she's like, okay, you need to leave. And which is like very similar to your story, like how your friend asks you, and it's just like, it's always someone like who like helps you. I don't know, the people like the universe like helping you. So I was just like, I want to leave. She's like, okay.
I felt so stupid too, by the way, when she
Yeah.
said it, and then I was like,
Oh,
and I was like, the whole time, like, yes,
you just had to ask me.
that's
Yeah.
what I wanted to do
Yeah.
before. Then like this happened and life happened, and I started a whole nother business, and then got trapped in this, money making machine but I was miserable and all that,
Yeah.
but ultimately led into, and then going back to ADing, but I was like, no, 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 I'm doing this to meet people.
Yeah.
And so 2020 pandemic for me was probably the best year for me.
Yeah.
Actually.
Me too.
Really. I know.
Yes.
I'm so glad that you said that, because so many people are like, listen, there's so many people that
I
went
know.
through so many,
Yeah. Let's be real.
hardships.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been awful for a
Mhm.
lot of people, business owners and whatnot. But for me, I got into the industry through a couple of really good friends, a really good friend of my DP and some producers and directors, and reconnected with a really old buddy of mine who's a producer now, who lived in Singapore, made some really good financial connections there, financiers connections, produced things, made his movie there.
Wow.
And we came back, and then this lower budget indie feature came about. I've done some music videos, some shorts and things like that throughout the pandemic, kind of getting back into it, getting on set.
That's great.
And then he sends me the script. I broke it down, sent it to him. He didn't expect me to just break it down for like as an AD, but I was like, well, here's what I'm thinking. And then he hired me. He hired the DP, my buddy, and then I found out my buddy who's the producer on it, and that was Ross, and then Tori was the second AD on it.
Mm-hmm.
And we went to Vegas and made this incredible movie during pandemic, shot in 11 days. And
Wow.
halfway through the project, the producer Ross came to me and says, I have this script, and I think you'd be brilliant for it as a director. And I was
Insane.
like, okay,
Yeah.
tell me more. And he told me the gist of the story. That was an existing script. They were like not liking it. So I
Oh.
look at it. I looked at it. I hated it. I was like, can I do my spin completely on the core story that you guys want to do? Yeah. So I pitched them 3 different versions. One was a sci-fi, one was a World War II setting, one was a present day setting. And they loved the sci-fi. I said, cool. Can I run with it? And the same writer who wrote the Richard on it, who wrote American Sicario, the guy that
Yeah.
wrote the movie that we went and do in Vegas.
Yeah.
We really clicked in Vegas. I told him about what I wanted to do, and I called him up. I said, "Do you want to do the sci-fi movie with me?" And
Like to help you like
Mm-hmm.
pen it. Oh my
No,
god.
write it.
Oh yeah.
Write it. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
yeah.
rewrote the outline together. Well, he wrote it. We come up with the outline together
Mm-hmm.
and going back and forth. And we've been working on the script ever since. The financier in Singapore, Sherman, an incredible guy. We had a couple meetings. I took a little further. I hired some people, talented people, to do some concept art, so we could put some vision to what I was thinking, and then I just kind of pitched it to them and say, "This is what I'm thinking." And they're like, "This is dope. Let's do it."
That's sick. Okay, so I guess my question is, from working on other sets, you knew to do these pitches and stuff. Like you've seen other directors do this, right? Like I'm like, how did you know?
YouTube.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. You're like,
Actually, never. So as an AD, I was never part of the process where the director's pitching to the producers.
okay, yeah, because I know ADs get to go on like they go and like shot list.
Yeah.
The director and stuff. But yeah,
Scouts and all
yes,
that.
exactly. Yeah.
But by that time, the idea for the movie and all of that that's all, been kind of discussed. And
Yeah.
when you're a seasonal AD on like a running TV show or something, your input is valuable because you are, especially in television, the director, I don't know if you know this, but like almost every episode of
It's
every
like a
television.
visitor.
Well, it's
directing.
a different director, right?
Yeah,
Like you said, like a visitor. So I'm there to kind of, the actors know me, we trust me. So I'm basically the director. I call, action,
Rolling,
sometimes even
yeah.
cut.
Mm-hmm.
Depends, how the directors like to work. And so sometimes the directors come into the TV show and they want to go this way. And I'm like, no. We're really going this way.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can go this way.
Yeah.
Right. So that would be my experience with, directors in that process with TV. But yeah.
The like pitch stuff you saw on
I've
YouTube?
never seen it. I just I've known from business, having a company, how I would pitch projects to clients.
Okay, yeah, that's so important. Right. Yeah.
Well, because I wanted somebody's job, and I'm asking them. My company does like a very modern, high-end European style kitchen cabinetry, so like kitchens, bathroom closets, and all that. So I'm asking somebody to fork out $100,000 on a kitchen. You gotta here's the samples and here's all. So the pitch deck would be like the samples, the look, the layout, and all that, and some videos and
it's like a film. Oh, that's interesting.
Salesmanship,
wow, yeah. You
sell
pretty much are. You're selling yourself and like what I can
100%
make this and make you guys money from. Yeah.
Exactly. So big learning curve for me there. So that's, at least I took the business side of doing business, having employees, dealing with customers, scheduling, presenting, selling, and all that, talking to people. Great practice to just talk to clients, So then when I was put into in front of an investor, financier, producer, I was like, well, here's what I'm thinking. And then you lay it out on them, and then
sick.
And also learn to deal with rejection.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I've learned, this is different from business, that the rejection on the $100,000 kitchen didn't mean rejection on an $80,000 kitchen.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, I'll just take away a few of these things, and we can still give you this. And it'd be like, that's within our budget. Right. So same thing with film, you pitch a $50 million movie, and they're like, well, we told you we have 5 million.
Yeah.
It's like, so
I think that's a good thing to tell people, because a lot of people take it personally, because I mean, especially with actors, it's like you're the product, and sometimes it doesn't have nothing to do with you. It's like budget, or that you need to look different, or
it sucks when you come to the casting room, and I've been there, not as an actor, but I've been there, and the teens looking at somebody, you walk in there like, hi, my name is Jackie, and they're like, yeah, thank you, Jackie.
Yeah.
Thank you, but no thank you.
Yeah, because
you're like, fuck, I didn't even say anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, hey, not the look. You come blonde, and we're like, we're looking for brunette. There's so many.
Legit, yeah.
We're just there's 500 other people. We just, sorry, don't.
I've been taking these casting director workshops, and they'll tell us, they're like, we know as soon as you walk in the room whether or not we want you or not.
Sort of, right?
Yeah.
Then there's
they say,
if you're the fit the type.
Yeah.
And then oh wow.
Yeah, you can always change your mind, but we usually know, and it's usually has nothing.
How do you deal with the rejection? What did you tell yourself, or how do you prepare yourself? Is it sting sometimes still?
Yeah, I mean, I try not to psych myself up for anything too much.
Mhm.
Like there's
Like
stuff.
get yourself excited that you're gonna get
Yeah,
it, or
yeah.
that.
I think it's important to be like, I can see myself doing this,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't like get my hopes up anymore, because sometimes
Mhm.
I'm like, oh, I really want this, like change my life. Like I've had opportunities like that, and then you don't get it, and you're like, well, now what am I gonna do? I'm
Right.
always like,
Okay.
I need to, I I like focus on,
Lower the expectations.
yeah, get it done, like put everything that I can into it, and then yeah, just know there's always going to be more opportunity. I think is like live in abundance basically, and try not to just get caught up with
So
every
what
little
came
thing.
first for you, acting or stunts?
Um,
I mean, the martial arts was there, but you didn't really
yeah,
quite know that could be stunts.
no, I was doing little things here and there, like uh, I did some like commercial stuff, like some extra background
So
stuff.
first acting.
Yeah, I would say
Okay, so that's
acting.
how you got exposed to
Yeah.
film set.
Well, so this is a really interesting part of my journey. I got into music. I did some music stuff. So like emceeing hip hop. I battle rapped a little bit. And then from there I met
Shout out
no,
Jackie.
yeah. I'm
All
like
right.
undefeated in Vegas right now. Come at me. But I did that, and then I met some people that way, and they came to one of my shows. They're like, "Hey, like you should meet my other friend," and they brought me to a set, and then they're like, yeah, we'd love your help. So it was
Mhm.
basically through the music industry, like in Vegas at the time. I was meeting people who also worked in the film industry as well, which is like indie film, I would say.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
because like big stuff that comes to Vegas is usually like they'll do like shots at the club or like commercials and
Yeah.
that kind of stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah,
So acting came first.
acting, yeah, and then I was helping them out on set,
Mhm.
and one of my friends was like, "Hey, I have the script."
When did the worlds collide?
Yes. He's like, I have the script. There's two ladies in it. They both kick ass. Would you like to do that? Because I was teaching martial arts at the same time. So I was teaching at a dojang in Vegas. And they're like, oh, so wait, you know how to do martial arts. Do you want to be in my short? And so I was like, what? I can do both? Yeah. So, and then I was like, man, I've always wanted to act. Like, I love performing, obviously, like with the rapping and stuff. So I was like, oh, always wanted to act. So I kind of, from there, I'm like, man, I don't think I'm ever going back. Like, I would love to perform. So I really took it seriously, got acting coaches, and I landed like a big, well, for Vegas, like indie film, a lead role in a trilogy out there called The Immortal Wars. And I was like, I auditioned for it and everything, and I got it. And I was like, wow, like, this is cool. So, yeah,
So
yeah,
that was the click. It was like I can do both.
I could do both.
I
Yeah,
can
I could do,
combine
I can
this
do,
thing that I love and this thing I love.
yeah,
And that's an actual thing in the industry that
that's
there's a
a
need
thing.
for.
Yeah, because there's so many jobs on a set. Like you can be good at like construction, and you could be building sets, and you're like, wow, or you could be good at like cooking, and then maybe you're doing crafty or catering. Like
Mm.
there's a job on set, like you could just be a handyman and you're a grip. You know what I mean?
This
like,
is the,
yeah,
so that's why I actually named the show Below the Line, Above the Line,
mm-hmm.
because you and I there's no it's not the line part, but it's you roll the credits, and for the first a minute or so you got the above the line, right?
Yeah.
Your writer, director, producers, the talent, and then boom. And for the next 15 minutes, you're rolling thousands and thousands of names of people, and like,
Yeah.
like people like walk out of the theater, and then like sometimes you sit there and you wonder who the fuck are all these
A
people
lot
that
of
work
people-
on the movie.
Yeah, a lot of people
I'm
don't
like,
know.
those are the people I want to talk to,
Yeah,
because those are working professionals, working people that work in the film
like
industry.
all the time.
There's so many people that always ask me, like, how do you get into the film industry? Like, how did you get in? How did you get started? And blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know how many jobs you can do that you're kind of doing in the real world that you can apply
That is
to?
so real. I think about that all the time. Yeah.
You know, like you just said it, crafty, a security guard of,
Yes.
like, the martial arts. Like, okay, you do martial arts, you can stunt perform.
And now with COVID, you could be like a nurse, and then you could be on set as a COVID compliance officer. Like
yeah, you take a literally like a 30-minute course or even less.
and then you're standing on set, just say, put your mask on, 6 feet, like that.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, yeah. I had a friend who was doing that. I PA'd on WandaVision, and she was a COVID compliance officer on that. And she let some people know she was Jessica Alba's stunt double. And then next week she was doing stunts on the show.
Disney, right?
Yeah.
Marvel.
Mhm.
how's Disney? How's this working for Disney? Well, I'm gonna get into this a little bit later. I'm gonna hold on.
Okay,
this.
sure.
But so to kind of know how you got in, when it merged. When did you had like that realization, like I'm a badass, I can fucking do this?
Yeah, I think I saw myself. We had like a whole premiere for their Mortal Wars, and I saw myself on screen, and I was like, I worked really hard for that. Like, if I can like ride this, and of course, there's a lot more figuring it out. Like, I'm still figuring it out, but I'm like, if I could ride this, like, I could do this, you know? And so I saw that, and I kind of had to push, like, I've always wanted to go to LA because that's where filmmaking is. And I was already in the West Coast coming from Michigan. So I'm like, I should, I should keep trying. Like, I should, filmmaking, I've always wanted to do.
Mm-hmm.
I should keep trying to be like an actress. And I was like, well, I'm going to focus on stunts. I need to get my skills better if I want to compete, like, with all these other amazing performers. So I moved to LA to also do that. Like, I'm going to join a stunt gym and learn as much as I can. And I think finally, like, I'm starting to get
This is
better.
a perfect, stunt gym.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where, so now you've broke into the film industry a little bit. You kind of know what's up. You've had martial art training. Now you realize I can combine those. You've done a little bit of work, but so now you are a stunt performer, right? At this point, you really are like doing stunts. And what does that look like? The training afterwards, like when you're like, okay, do things change? Like the things that you have to train, that you do train? What is I don't want to say like a day in a stunt performer look like, but what is your day-to-day kind of a training to be a stunt performer?
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming it's quite different than the martial art training itself.
Yeah. Because like martial arts, you go there for a class, and that could also be in your like wheelhouse.
So physical activity and
something like
keep
that.
Up
yeah. So I started lifting weights to prevent injury. So like I was getting pretty like well into bodybuilding and
so like strength and conditioning.
Yeah, strength and conditioning.
Mm-hmm.
And then but you also still have to be flexible. So like I also like right now I stretch every day. I do like 20-30 minutes of stretching, and then I'll go to the gym, and I have a ton of female friends I can meet up with. So me and my one friend, I think yesterday we met up, and we'll start with mitts. So we'll do mitts, kicks, and we'll do a little bit of choreo. And I love throws. Like I love doing like judo throws and a little bit of that. So I'm always like trying to like incorporate that into my training. So martial arts, you go to a class like a jiu-jitsu class, and that's what you're focusing on, like those jiu-jitsu moves, or like a taekwondo class, I'm going there and I'm doing kicks or my forms. But if you're like training for stunts, like, yeah, I'm going to do a little bit of everything. And then I need to practice some vaults, like some parkour or something like that too. So I think when I first started doing the performing aspect of it, we would go to a gymnastics gym in Vegas. We'd set up blocks. And then my boyfriend now, he would always lead like this whole class. We would do rolls. We'd start with rolls just to, feel getting upside down. And then we'd start like
loosen up,
jump up stuff, jump on stuff. So it's a lot of cross training, I would say. And then just always adding to your skill set, like working on stuff. My Kung Fu instructor used to say, like, you have all these plates that are spinning, right? Like, let's say that you're balancing all these plates, and let's say you're working on a form, and you start like, you spin. Oh, I got it good. Oh, but I need to work on some throws. So you start spinning it. And they're like, oh, wait, that one's about to fall. So you come back and you start spinning
real
that.
Quick.
Yeah. So it's kind of like always keeping your plates spinning, if that's a good analogy.
That's a really good analogy.
I know.
I love it. Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, I always
shout out to your Kung Fu teacher.
Steve Matchett. He's awesome. Yeah,
that was really good.
He has so many good analogies.
I think that's what life.
Yeah,
and that's not just for training. I think that's just life is, right? It's great analogy. A bunch of plates that you just kind of always have to come back to this one and this one and this one. And eventually, just keep them all going.
You could say that's with relationships as well. Like, I haven't talked to that person in a long time. Like, I need to call my mom back. Or, like, man, I wonder what they're up to. Like, let me talk to them. I think that's really important. So
I know.
Yeah, I'm bad at that, but I try.
Well, as long. First rule of realizing there's a problem is admitting there's one, right?
Oh, yeah.
So knowing that, like, I got to get better, that's the best attitude you can have.
Yeah.
So you were training. This is what I wanted to ask you. Is there like groups of people that are stunt performers that you guys kind of hang out together and train together? And then you have some general training, right? So like we were just talking about it. So like keep up with your martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
strength and conditioning, and then you get a script, and there's something very specific
Yeah.
that you're going to do,
Yeah.
and then the train. So does the like I'm quite wondering, how does this work with the film? Do the production hire, like, is it a club or team or of a group of stunt performers that they go to and then say, hey, I think you guys can handle this whole choreography and stunt, battle or whatever's happening here?
Yeah.
And
I think it just depends because I've worked on quite a few sets where they've worked with these performers before, or you need somebody specific, like this person needs to jump off this wall and then do a double twist before they land. Like, there's only a few people who could do that,
right,
So you'd be like,
not me.
yeah. So a lot of times a coordinator will ask one of the performers, like, hey, do you know anybody who could do that? And they'll recommend.
Mm,
Or now, they're really good about being true. Let's say if you're doubling a female, like they're not just going to wig up a guy. They're going to actually find somebody who looks like the girl, same color, same height.
hold on.
Oh, yeah.
What? They
Yeah.
used to wig up.
Yeah, they call it wigging. Yeah, they'd wig up
They
guys
put a wig on a guy
to do
to do the stunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, in theater, back in the day, they would
would
men
all
would
be-
dress up as women.
Yeah, it would all be guys.
They'd put wigs
Shakespeare.
on. Guys would do Shakespeare as women characters.
Yeah. I'm not so sure why they would do that.
Yeah,
back
that's
then, but yeah.
fucking weird.
Yeah. I know now a lot of, I was talking to a coordinator. He says a lot of directors don't want to see like women getting hurt. So there's not actually a lot of opportunity for women stunt performers
dude.
sometimes.
I
But
have no problem with that.
yeah,
I
no,
think you're totally badass. I'd be like,
his,
let
yeah.
me watch you do this shit. What?
And his argument too is like, it's realistic. Women do get beat up in the world. You need to show it. Like, I don't know.
I don't think if you get hurt, it hurts any more or less if it's a man or a woman.
No.
It hurts the same. If you get hurt, you get hurt. It's like, fuck, this sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, wigging, Jesus Christ, you just totally like rocked my world. I'm like,
another
what?
another one too is they used to like paint up white people to look, darker than to match. And I think,
match.
yeah, I think that's
Silly.
just bad.
Yeah.
No, that's really bad. So now,
Well, especially with the amount of people that you have to choose from now, it's like
Exactly.
You don't have,
yeah. So if like you can find somebody who looks like this actress or actor,
mm-hmm.
even better.
Isn't that funny? Like somebody calls you and say, "Hey, Jackie, so we think from behind you kind of look like this person."
Yeah.
So are your body type and your your height and your kind
Yeah.
of figure fit the thing, and you'd be like, oh great, so we're gonna throw you off the balcony.
Oh, yeah, right. Sometimes, well, I've gotten texts that are like, hey, are you available? And I'm like, yeah. And then I get there and they're like, you're going to be doing this. And I'm like, oh, well, it's been like pretty easy so far. But yeah, like sometimes like, oh, you got to do like a flip. Like they would look at your reel, and be like, oh, you don't want to put something in your reel that you're not going to do on set.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, I landed a backflip once. I'm put that in my reel. Like, and you
Right.
can't do it.
Out
like
of 500 tries, like I landed one. And
Exactly.
Like,
Don't
look at me.
if you don't want to do that, because you've been on set, like sometimes they do it 12 times. Like,
Yeah.
like thankfully, if you nail it like 1 or 2 times, that's good. But sometimes you have to do that thing 12 times. So make sure
You
when
can
you
do it
train 12 times. Exactly. Like
Very good
rolling in.
point.
Yeah. So
Have you?
yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. So back to that. Like coordinators are gonna watch your reel
Uh-huh.
and know this person can do it. Like they're a good athlete. Like they're gonna be able to perform that skill or not. Yeah.
I was going to sidetrack for a second, but
Yeah,
let's
sure.
go back to so you have a group of like stunt performers and that you kind of stick around with, and you guys train together?
Yeah. I think it's important to like.
Because you mentioned a stunt gym, so are there kind
Yeah,
of like, don't know if-
I call it a stunt gym, but it's like a movement gym. So like break dancers and dancers will go there to train, and then
let's say somebody is listening who a female might be interesting in kind of like, I've done doing some martial arts, I like kind of like film. Maybe a good place to meet people from the industry would be to source out some of these like stunt performer gyms where
Yeah.
like the stunt performers go and hang out. And if you can do some impressive shit, and then you
yeah,
meet people.
I would. That was kind of like my goal is like to go there and meet people as well. And a lot of people recommend even from Vegas, like you should check out Joining All Movement.
What is it? Sorry.
Joining All Movement, nicknamed Jam. Stunt performers and coordinators now, yeah, they own the gym and they started that.
Hmm.
Also, any
LA based?
LA based, yeah, it's actually in Reseda, so it's in the
Nice.
valley.
Okay, cool.
And then there's a lot of parkour gyms I would also recommend.
Mm.
So like there's
Isn't parkour kind of all about just like running outdoors though?
yeah, but they have like structures inside so you can practice it safer, and have mats and stuff.
You know what also got big when that TV show kind of, or I don't know if it's a TV show, it's a game show, American Ninja Warrior.
Yeah.
That made a huge, and then I start seeing all these gyms that's popping up that have all the obstacle crazy
My
stuff.
niece does one of those.
It's incredible.
She loves it.
Like you looking at it and you think like, right? But then you see what they're doing and then you go try it.
Yeah, I
Be
tried
like,
it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I'm like,
This
you
is
need a lot
hard.
of grip strength. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
hard,
yeah.
really hard.
Mm-hmm. But you do any rock climbing or any kind of like?
I'll do little stuff every now and
Bouldering,
then.
maybe?
Yeah. No, not bouldering. I've done some like rappel stuff,
Mhm.
like at a rock climbing gym, and then
It's
it's fun. It's you
Yeah.
get pumped real quick.
Yep,
Yeah,
yep,
you
she's
get a good
like,
pump.
"Ugh."
Yeah. Yeah. I think the last time I did that was a few years ago, but yeah, I
Would
definitely
you say
wanna-
so? Like wanting to join some, get into stunts. Would you suggest like, hey, yeah, find a gym where like stunt performers hang out and train and just meet people there?
Yeah, I think it also depends what kind of stunts you want to do.
Yeah, and that's the next thing I kind of wanted
Yeah,
to
uh-huh.
tackle on. But before we get that, there's that sidetrack that I wanted to talk about. The don't put stuff on the reel that
Yeah.
you can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember there's like I don't want to call it a meme. This is not a meme. It's a little short video from Michael Bay set that was kind of floating around the
No,
internet
what was
for a
it?
while. It's just this crazy car chase, car flipping, like an action scene
Mm-hmm.
that like, it looked like it was.
It was Michael Bay.
Yeah,
it was the
can
new
you-
Michael
Can
Bay
you
film.
find that and pull it
Is
up?
that with the dolly trap?
Yep.
Was that
Yep.
Michael? I was like, that
Yep,
can't
that's
be
it.
Michael Bay because that looks so dangerous.
Because he literally posted it.
He's the one
I was
posted
like,
it.
how do you let that? Because they had
He
the
was
catch,
like-
they had
and
the
then-
catch car there,
Yeah, yeah.
and then that didn't do anything. You
Didn't
still
do
had the
anything.
crew.
Yeah.
I was like, how did
I think
they
actually
let?
one of the guys got ran over or got hit, and must have he was like pinned between the ambulance or something. At least looked like it.
I did
I
not. I
looked
thought
at
that
it-
was a low budget film. My God.
I mean,
was,
low budget film. That scene by itself was probably $500,000 just right there.
I mean, you see some. I was like, there's no way.
I know. Tori's gonna pull it up for us, and so we can
Yeah, I
quickly
was
look
just
at
like,
it. But I was like, and then he put like, oh, this was all professionals trained. It looks worse than it is. I'm like, yeah, bullshit.
I'm like, you can throw a long lens on
was
my
like-
camera. You don't need a dolly that close to
I
them. I
was
was
like-
worried about for the crew. Like,
I looked at it from a first AD point of view. I was like, wow, okay. Listen, you can Michael Bay your way out of this one, bro. I'm like, it's like
just
fuck.
bury this clip. Why?
Like, why did you
Why
post,
did you post it?
I think somebody else posted and then he reposted it and added a comment to it. Like, no, everybody's okay. Everybody was safe. I'm like, what?
Mm-mm. No.
Anyways.
Yeah.
So type of stunt performers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give some examples?
Yeah, sure. I mean, you're always gonna have to take a fall as a stunt performer, so you should know how to fall. So you'll have people who, they'll just go in for that. But like,
Hey,
so
what do you do for a living?
fall, right?
High
Yeah,
fall.
yeah. So, and then you also have people who do high falls. So a high fall is 20 feet and above. Anything else would probably be like a low fall.
Hold on. Say it again.
20 feet.
Anything below 20 feet is considered low fall?
Yes. Yeah. And that's still scary if you're up there.
All
yeah,
right.
2 stories. Yeah. So, so people who are like high fall specialists, you have, and people who can fight. So,
Okay, what's a high fall then? Like 20 feet above, but where does it end? Like, there's no limit?
No.
Oh, jump out of the plane with Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah. Did you see, what is that, Assassin's Creed movie? It's like the highest.
Here's
high
that
fall.
Michael Bay.
Oh,
video.
yes, I saw this. Okay,
Well,
break it.
that's wise.
Can you full screen it?
Yeah, just like a little worse quality. But
Oh, okay, that's fine. Now I remember. This dolly track is what
Well,
kills me.
so Michael's the one with the green headphones?
He's the one that's on
He's
there.
with the camera. He's operating the camera.
And all these people, that does not look like a stunt performer right there.
Well, the dolly got pushed off
so
the track.
all these people on the right, yeah, like that's crew, right? Is that Village?
I think that's extras shooting at the vehicle that's getting away. So it's some
Oh.
kind of a.
well, look at the one cop like gets run over by the like ambulance.
Yeah,
Does
because
that
I'm
look
assuming
kinda
these are
like-
stunt performers there, but the dude in the hoodie that has to run.
I'm loving that I'm looking at this with you, by the way,
Yeah.
because you must be like, this is not
I
safe.
saw this and was horrified.
I'm looking at this first AD. I'm like, holy shit, be at the end of me.
Oh my god, and you have an edge arm over there. But like these police cars are there for protection, right? Like to catch everything and they like
They just move.
what? They move, yeah, why?
Anyways,
No, one.
Tori's gonna insert
Hits
this
the
for the
air.
audience later
Oh my god.
in the edit.
Like
All right,
I have a hard
enough,
time.
enough of that.
I'm just like you just put a long lens on, please. I don't Here's not I can't.
Just put a line.
I just can't.
Like when that car starts flipping and the guy's still running in front of it, I'm like, where's the catch wire? Like, where's the wire to catch it? You know, like I'm waiting for that. Like you can usually tell
yeah.
when they're like, boom, right?
Yeah.
There's that instant like
Yeah.
stop, and the thing just keeps going. I'm like, what the fuck happened?
They didn't even have like the e-brake on. I don't know.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
I feel. Yeah, I'm just like sweating now.
I know. I'm like, all right. Stunt performer types.
Categories, yeah.
Categories.
So, like you'll have a lot of people who do the fights.
Mhm.
They're martial artists, gymnasts, and dancers. Like, so from that background, you'll have people who come from those, and they pick up fights really well. They pick up choreography really well. And some of the top women stunt performers are gymnasts, and they know how to fall, which is good, and jump off of stuff and flip. Parkour athletes, drivers, that's huge. So people who competed driving usually are good stunt performers and work a lot. Motocross people. I'm like, yeah, so fighting, driving. It's like you have a lot of everything. You sometimes, as you know, like special effects,
Mhm.
a lot of what they do, rigging, that's like more of a
Have you
stunt.
ever been the person in the green suit?
No,
No,
not in the
yet,
green
not
suit.
yet.
No,
Just
no.
running with something. or
No, not yet. No. Yeah. So a lot of the rigging stuff is going to stunt performers now, and I have a lot of special effects friends, and they're like, "Oh, that sucks." Like,
Have you
this-
done any of the cable work, like
Wire
with the
work? Yeah.
harness,
Mhm.
wire work?
I have my own harness. I work with a team wirefighters, and we practice. Like, we're just a group of people who practice.
I'm amazed by the whole, like, the pulley system, how that works,
Yeah.
the hoisting of everything, setting it
Mhm.
up, then safety, and just like the things you can do. And then these harnesses and these suits now, where you can do like, where you jump and you can spin in it.
Yeah.
You know, it's got that
Yeah.
like the metal frame, and I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, they did like Captain Marvel. They had a really cool setup for that. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw the behind the scenes. I think what's her name?
Brie Larson.
Brie Larson. She's like, I saw the behind the scenes. Like, does it look cool?
Okay.
And
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
Because it doesn't feel cool. But
No.
if it looks cool, that's all I care about.
Yo, so many bruises from the harness.
I
Like,
can, yeah.
yeah, it's rough, but
And there's so many different ways that they're attached, right?
picks, yeah, different
Yeah.
pick points. So, yeah, some people just have. It's called a Hong Kong, where it's just like the girdle, you know.
Just a belt.
Yeah, and it hides better. And then when I got my harness at Climbing Suture in Vegas,
Mhm.
actually, he was saying like a lot of people will order, like if you're on a show, they'll order custom harnesses to fit under the wardrobe. So they actually make them and sew them like so they fit. Otherwise, they're kind of like bulky looking.
Is
Yeah.
that something that you as a stunt performer are required to bring on with you? Bring it to the set?
No. But if you want to train, I would definitely grab one because like I know I'm gonna use it and train with it. So, and it doesn't last forever. You know, it only lasts like the Climbing Suture guys said like 6 years if you use it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Or if it has wear and tear. Like,
So it's not as something if somebody wants to get into stunt performing is something
I probably
like you
wouldn't
need to
get it unless
no.
you had the opportunity to train it, because otherwise the show will buy it, you know, and you just use the shows. But I think it helps to be like, yeah, I have my harness with me. Otherwise, you're borrowing the coordinator's harnesses. You know, it's like, no, I got my own harness. It's fit to my body, so let's go. You know.
Assuming the custom made ones must be a little bit more expensive, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I got mine on sale. It's like $600.
Jesus.
Yeah.
On sale?
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
Yep.
And so what kind of stunt performer you were leaning towards?
Yeah, I do fights, so that's like my number one. You would hire me to like do your fights, any wire work. I've actually been on a team with girls and we've been practicing fire burns, so fire burns and safety. We meet about like twice a week. Um, yeah, that's a whole nother animal too. The firework is crazy.
Have you been set on fire yet?
Yes, I've been set. Okay, so on set last year, did a full sleeve, so they burn from your wrist to like your almost to your shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
So that, and then that's crazy because it
Like
will
it gets
automatically go to your face. Yeah, yeah. And so that was my first fire burn, and then when I linked up with these girls, her name's Julia. She has done like 600 burns. She was in a circus show.
mm-hmm.
She would do them like 5 times a week. So she's like, I made my own gel. She's like the first female to ever make her own fire gel. And because she has like some mentors, and they're like, hey, like here's how you do it, figure it out. And she like badass like figured it out. And she's like, this is what I want to do over quarantine. And so she invited us all over, and with her, we started with forearm burns. I think even some people who've never done a burn, they would just like practice holding the fire in their hands.
So how does it work? So it's a gel, and then you put something
Good
on top
question.
of the gel that burns?
So usually it's the gel, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then
The gel itself burns?
No, the gel is
The protective
fire
layer.
resistant. Yeah,
Right.
it's like protective.
What is it? I mean, I'm
I
pretty
don't
sure.
know. It's some chemistry thing. Yeah.
What does it feel like? when
Like
you're putting it on?
petroleum jelly kind of feels like that,
Okay.
but thick.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't
Kind of
know.
like Vaseline.
Yeah. Yeah, like that, but like, yeah, it's like pretty
Gunkier.
viscous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you have that. Usually, you would have like a fire resistant, like Nomex on, which is like, like
Underneath?
Yeah. Yeah. Over the gel. And firefighters like wear that.
Over the gel.
So you have like that fire resistant layer, like keeping the gel against your skin.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then, you'll have like the wardrobe over that. But if you don't have a wardrobe, and then, so the wardrobe is where you would put the accelerant on, and that would burn. Yeah, which is why you would need the layer. So some people put 1 or 2 layers on, depending how big the burn is. It's a lot. Like she breaks us up into groups, and we each have to learn each station. And
Do you feel the heat right away?
that's tricky, because
Because it's the rising, right? The main.
yeah. If they say as soon as you start to feel it a little bit, because it'll go from not feeling anything at all to hot, and if it's
Second.
hot, you're burning. Yeah. So,
So as soon as you feel it,
yeah.
call it.
Like my full sleeve, he's like, count to 8 and then go down. And I had to do a little acting with it. I'm like, like get caught on fire. Like my boyfriend's a junkie, and he runs by me and catches me on fire. I'm like, oh my God. So I do a spin. And I think by the time I was done, it was like 12 seconds. Like I completely forgot to count to 8 because I'm just like, you're on fire. Like, and then I went down, and then they sprayed me with the CO2 and stuff. But yeah, I was like, I think I'm starting to feel hot. I'm like, I'm just going to go down. But yeah, I've never gotten to the point where I'm like, this is really uncomfortable. Like I've done the full sleeve, forearm, done a leg, like a partial leg, partial arm. I've done my other arm, and then I recently just did a back burn. So they like draw a pattern on your back, like a U, because if it was like up by your shoulders, it'll go to your face.
And
so
hair, right?
yeah, well, we wear a hood for the practices
Okay.
and stuff. So yeah, it's all very like calculated.
Technical
Yeah, I'm learning so much doing that. It's really cool.
Incredible. How much of it, like, you think it's visible versus non-visible then on camera?
Oh,
Because it seems like all these safety precautions will then interfere with like the city of the like. Well, that doesn't really look like she's on fire.
I think it's better now. Like have you ever seen the show Warrior?
The movie, the
No,
two brothers, or Warrior.
it's on
The Bruce Lee HBO
yes.
Max.
Yes, yeah.
No.
There was a fire burn in that. The guy like gets kicked into like a furnace, comes out, and he does like 2 full sleeves, and he's like on fire. And like I was like looking for, I'm like looking for, whenever I see stunts, I'm like, ooh, that's a pad. Ooh, like, and that stuff. But like, where's the gel? I was like, this looks so good.
So good.
like he was instantly lit up, and you could tell he's like, okay, I'm lit. But he had to have gel over his whole face and everything. But yeah, it looked good. So I think now it's way better.
It's
Like
getting better.
yeah, way better.
You would think like with higher resolution and everything with the
Yeah, you're
cameras,
like-
right? Like it'd be like it was going to be getting worse because now you're going to be able to pick
Yeah.
up more and more.
Yeah, like his
detail.
face looks distorted. That's something's on there. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What kind of stunt what do you enjoy most doing? Is it more challenging, something new, or is there something that you find yourself in that you're like, I'm really good at this. I wanna explore this more.
Yeah, I definitely love fights. Because with the fights you can do acting as well.
Mhm.
Like if you're in pain, you can do that, and there's always like a character too. I definitely love playing characters. Like I've doubled before, and it's cool because doubling, it's like, wow, you couldn't even tell it was me.
You
But then,
should, you
yeah.
could talk about that a little bit. So there's
yeah,
stunt performing when you're just being an actor, you become a character that's
Yeah.
stunt performing, but then
Mhm.
also there's the doubling, right? It's
Yeah.
for talk about the doubling a little bit, how that works, and
Yeah.
why is it required or why is it needed?
Yeah, basically anytime an actor's like, I don't feel comfortable, because an actor can always be like, no, I don't need a double. Like I just almost had a job where I could have been, the double for this actress, and she was just like, no, I'm gonna do it myself. I was like, cool, badass, like awesome. I can't be mad at you for wanting to do that, but it's like, oh man, I wanted to like perform. So they could always be like, yeah, I don't feel comfortable. Or my friend was doubling someone, and
Or
she
the
was,
insurance kicks in and they're like, nope. you
yeah,
ain't
they're like
doing this.
legit. Like if you get hurt, like we can't do anything. Like I think that happened on like a Maze Runner movie. The actor broke his leg, and they like had to like
Shut down.
pause for like 6 months or something.
Tom
like that.
Cruise broke his ankle on Mission Impossible.
Yeah, did you see that? They used the
Yes.
shot.
Yeah.
Ouch.
And then he got up and ran past the camera on the broken ankle.
Savage. No, he's savage. Yeah.
Because he's like, as soon as he landed, he said he knew he was broken, and he's like, he knew that there was nothing they can do, so he just wanted to get that
you
take.
just have to keep going. The worst thing you could possibly do is like break character.
But how do you do that with a broken ankle?
You just lay there until someone
Well,
yells cut.
Yeah, you lay there, but he got up,
Yeah, he's the
stepped
hero.
on the broken ankle and hopped by the
Savage. Yeah, I guess if that's what you have to do, I don't know.
That guy's crazy.
Adrenaline too, though, a little bit. Like, yeah, it hurts, but you get a few
right.
seconds. Get a couple seconds of
Yeah.
like superhero.
Yeah, he made that split decision. It was like,
Split decision. He's
Yeah.
a pro. He's a professional.
well,
Yeah.
there's no question about it.
Yeah.
The guy's jumping off of Burj Khalifa or Burj Dubai, whatever
Yo,
they call that tower
stuff
now.
is
and
so crazy.
you know the helicopter stunts that he
Yes,
that
the
he
one in this last movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, where he like they
the-
descended him.
Well, he did the corkscrew with the helicopter.
Yeah, he flew it.
Yeah. Which is like probably the most difficult acrobatic thing to do in a helicopter. This is a funny story
Oh, man.
about stunt performing that I heard him say. So when he was laying out how they're gonna do all this, right?
Mm-hmm.
First AD, number one thing, safety, schedule and all that, but safety, right? Then
Yeah.
when you get into these crazy worlds of multi-million-dollar, you have safety teams and safety guys. The star performers have their safety, but there's that like one main safety guy. So like when they're like telling him like, okay, so like I'm gonna do this and the helicopter's gonna go like this and da 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 da, right? And then he's telling to the safety guy, and he goes like, you can't do that. That's too dangerous. And then Tom was saying the story, and then he paused, and then the guy that interviewed him was like, okay, well, so what did you do? We got a different safety guy.
Oh my god.
We hired another safety guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is the most savage move that I've
Yeah.
all right. Well, we got somebody who says it's
All
gonna
right.
be all right.
See ya.
That's crazy though. That do you know at what point I mean it's up to I'm assuming, is this up to the stunt coordinator to decide what's safe and not safe, and but then the production has a safety, right? And then the first AD is like, show me what you guys doing, like,
Yeah.
again. And then but is there ever a moment where you felt like this is not safe and we're the professionals?
Nothing I've worked on. I mean, as soon as you tell somebody like you're a stunt performer, I feel like I always hear a story like, oh yeah, I was like on the back of this truck and I was falling off. And I was like, why were you doing that? Yeah. No, I've thankfully, like, I make sure my voice is heard. And yeah, it's always up to the coordinator. Like, yeah, I thankfully haven't had like a crazy story that I can think of where I'm like, wow, I mean, I did something on my friend's film where I had to be drowned a little bit. And I just remember
Drowning.
yeah, I like couldn't breathe.
You didn't want to say it, but I saw you like, I was kind of drowning.
I like legit couldn't breathe. Yeah, I was just like, because she drags me in the pool, and then I was just like, I'm supposed to come up, and then she dunks me, and she's about to dunk me, and I was looking at the other girl like, I can't catch my breath, and she's just like, I was like, boom. So it was just like, it was still like, I'm like, yeah, I could have done better, but I couldn't really breathe at that point. But that was it was okay.
From experience with skiing or doing, sports or whatever, I would say that the most susceptible we are to injury are the most routine things that we think that we have the most down, right?
Yes.
So like you being set on fire, very unlikely you're gonna get hurt.
Yeah.
You're doing a somersault, you're gonna like break your arm or something, right?
I talked to somebody like, okay, so for instance, my boyfriend like almost tore his ACL by doing a lateral stretch, and he can flip, like he's really good. And this tiniest thing, and like my friend's like hobbling. I'm like, what'd you do? She's like, oh, I just like stepped off of a stair, and I'm like, what? I was like, oh no, you weren't doing a double backflip? Oh, okay, great. I'm like, what? I always say it's never anything cool. It's always.
So that kind of brings me to the safety question. Any injuries? Have you gone through any major injuries or any kind of incidents on? So you kind of answered that. The only thing happened to you, you drowned. But
I mean, so
I was drowning. I can't quite remember anything, but this one time I was drowning.
No, I mean, okay, I like
how you said it, like. Yeah, just,
it's just like I don't think I inhaled water,
right.
but it was hard to breathe. But no, because I'll do practice fights. I feel like I get more messed up.
Have you been punched in the face?
Yes. Oh yeah, an actor punched me in the face, and there's only so much you can do. You like
Harrison Ford punched Ryan Gosling.
Oh my god.
On Blade Runner 2049.
I mean, if you're gonna get
punched
by somebody,
and there's a great photo of it. From the camera when he punched him and realized immediately. There's like a photo.
Oh no!
Like because he got him.
Don't break.
So any injuries or anything?
Yeah. Like an actor punched me in the face. Like I did a practice fight, and
what did they say, by the way, afterwards? When
he was so upset. He like didn't want to talk to me. Like was just ashamed, and because I set up like he grabs my shoulder. This is like the easiest way. Grab the shoulder, you know the distance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have to stack the punch.
Mm-hmm.
He basically we did this like 7 or 8 times, and it was like the 7th time, and he finally like I had a mask on, and he punched that mask, and I just went to the ground each time, so I just did the same thing, and he came back. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, hey, it's okay. Like I'm okay. I'm good. Like. You didn't punch me that hard. I was like, your punch sucked. No. No, I was like, yeah, I've been hit harder. Like,
you totally should have.
No,
dude, that was my set. I would have been Jackie. Totally, you should have been like, you pussy.
Yeah,
the fuck
like
was that?
Bitch. No,
like, what do you think? You gonna take me down?
No. Yeah, I was just like, it's fine, and then he just like avoided me, and it was so awkward. I was just like, I went up to him, I was like, hey. I'm seriously fine. He's like, really? Oh, I was just like sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, I know, I could tell. Like, I'm good. It's all good. Because like when you grow up doing martial arts, you get kicked in the head and like you see white and you get angry. And then it wasn't one of those times. So I was like, no, we good. So yeah, I've gotten punched in the face. I've like had bruises all up and down my leg.
Nothing serious?
No, nothing. No broken.
This is real wood table.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Cool. Nothing yet. Yeah. So.
Anybody you've seen get hurt? Any incidents that you witnessed on set? Anything that you like could have been prevented, or anything like just a freak of like nature that you will be like, how did that happen?
No, not really. Like I've seen somebody. He was on a wire and he like hit his head or something, and he was bleeding. And I mean, it was like rough. He was like in like a full prosthetic thing. So I'm like, I don't know how you hit your head. But some performers are really like, we're like, hey, no, we're good. We're okay. Like, we know we're tough. But at the same time, I'm like, yeah. And the head like bleeds a lot. So sometimes it looks worse than it is. But I'm like, oh, I mean, that little stuff can happen. But I've seen someone training who was like just practicing vaults, and he like
Practicing what?
like jumping over stuff, like little things.
What do you call it?
A vault.
A vault.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you would do like there's like different vaults, like safety vault, speed vault, that kind of stuff. And he was practicing. We were at the gym, and he just like jumped wrong, and then he like tore his knee.
Have you been a stunt coordinator on something, or like a smaller project for some
Like
friends?
a student film?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like sometimes I hesitate to say that because I feel like I don't have enough experience to be a
okay.
coordinator, you know. And I think it's better for like people who are to get those jobs. So I'd be like, yeah, just credit me as stunts. Like I know I like helped and yeah, but I think I worked for this AFI film where I had to coordinate like the scene of this girl getting like beat up like in an alley, like basically she has to stab a guy. So I like choreographed this thing, and then the director really liked it, and yeah, it was fun. It was chill. But
Anything you got coming up that you want to talk about? Anything exciting? I know you told me that you really kind of start. Well, I know what you can talk about.
yeah,
Which we'll talk about at some point later on in the future.
Yeah. So something definitely cool I'm working on right now, which is cool.
But you work with Disney.
Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you about so you have Marvel, and then you have the Star Wars kind of universe there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to say anything, but you are basically, you work on one and you're going to work on both worlds.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that. But how do they approach the two different, like such different worlds, but Disney owns kind of both of them now.
Yeah.
Wandavision, how was that working on? I know you were a PA on it, but
yeah. And I'm kind of the same thing. I only take jobs if I know I can like meet people. You know, my friend who's the AD is like, hey, I know you're doing stunts, but this is for second unit. It's only for a month. So I'm like, yeah, I'll definitely do that. And she told me it was WandaVision. I was like, yeah, I got you. So I met so many like different stunt people, and I learned a lot. Like you see, they're so safe. They have all the pads you could ever afford. All the wires on trusses hung up in the air, and I'm just like, wow, like this is
the real deal.
This is a real deal, yeah. And then like a lot of the wires, they're not like, we do a lot of hand pulls. Like this is like, ratchets, like they actually dial it in. I'm like, man, this is sick. So yeah, and I had a lot of friends work on that, and they came in for a day, and they're like, I don't even know what I'm working on. I was like, oh, you're on WandaVision. And they're like, oh yeah, well, I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm like, oh yeah, cool.
You said that a couple of times, and I'm so like, does that happen often that you just like, hey, you're free, like can you come do, and it's for stunts, and then you show up, you don't know what you're doing until the day off.
Yeah, that's why it's like so important for a reel too, because like you could be hired because I'm like, they're gonna hire me for a fight or something, I'm like, I'm probably gonna get hired for like a fight or like acting or like this, I'm like replacing somebody, so and then one thing I got hired on, I was like helping out with Call Me Kat with Mayim Bialik, and the coordinator was like, hey,
hold on, is that the Big Bang Theory actress?
Yeah,
that's doing her own show now.
Yeah. So I was like her double, but I wasn't on camera. They needed someone just like her height and everything who could do something, and it was basically riding on the back of a dumpster that was on a dolly track. And the coordinator, he texted everything. He was like, yeah. I don't know, Siri, did I?
Shut up.
Yeah. But he wrote down everything. Like, hey, do you feel comfortable? Like, he told me, he's like, it's really easy. And I was like, yeah. So sometimes they're good about like, yeah. And then sometimes like, are you free? And I'm like, yeah. Well, and then you get there, you're like, what am I doing?
Nice.
I mean, but they wouldn't hire you unless they knew you could do it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But do you ever like show up and be like, oh shit. Okay.
I mean, sometimes I showed up and
it's like I would, if I was to film a scene as an AD or as a director now, like working, I'd like would be mentally thinking about it and preparing myself how we're gonna do this and do that.
Yeah.
Like I can imagine somebody who's gonna be like, and you're the one who's gonna roll off the balcony.
Yeah.
Like just showing up, be like, yeah. So what am I doing today? Well, you're gonna get hit by that car, land over there, and then after the lunch, you're gonna go and fall out of that third-story balcony and be like,
yeah.
Okay.
I think a lot of the times, like, let's say you're not hired to like day play stunts, you're there and you know the gags, and he can like
Okay.
be like, hey,
Do you
can
get the
this?
script too as the stunt performers? Do you guys read the script?
Some you don't even get the call sheet sometimes. You just like the coordinator or the AD just texting you when to get there and stuff. So it's interesting being a PA on these big things, seeing all the stunt people go on, and then I'm on
Like
the
even
other
on these big things that happens?
yeah, you sometimes because it's so well the things that I've been on, they're so secretive. Like you can't like you
Or
don't
like on Wandavision, nobody knew like what they're doing.
no one knew what they were doing. They didn't even have like a name. They'd be like stunt police person 1 or like stunt witch number 2. Like they're like, whoa, I'm a
Damn.
witch. Yeah, and I'm like, what am I on? Like I think the code name was like Big Red or something. So it's like you get there for Big Red. It's WandaVision. I was like, yeah, you're
Big red.
yeah.
She's like, what?
Yeah. So it's really cool. That's why I like working both sides. Like you said, like learning a lot. And I'm like, I know how a big budget like thing works with stunts now.
So we talked about briefly pandemic 2020. We both said
Yeah.
like, I feel a little guilty about it, but at the same time, it was by far my best year.
Yeah.
And you told me, we were chatting a little bit yesterday, that you got some really interesting things coming up. You just shared with me.
Yeah.
You can't talk about it, unfortunately, but I think it's amazing.
Yeah. Thank you.
What else you got going on? What do you got coming up?
I'm actually cast in 2 things right now. A horror film in Vegas. I actually play like the bad guy in that, so I do some prosthetic work. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and I'm usually not the bad guy, so it'll be fun. And then I just got cast in something in Northern California. I play like a side chick, and it's like a biker movie, so I get to like ride a motorcycle and
Is it acting, stunt performing, or
acting more on that one. And I guess the stunt performing would be just pulling the bike away, if you call that a thing. Yeah.
Hey, listen. First AD rule: anything other than walking is a stunt.
Let's go. Yeah.
I'm serious. Like you're running, well, that's a stunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially to the actors, when they're like, "Oh no, that's you." So she's gonna run down the director. Like, she's gonna run down the stairs. Well, that's a stunt.
Yeah.
If she trips, then or something.
Yeah.
People are like, "How's running a stunt?" I'm like,
I play we play stunt softball sometimes, and it's not
what?
We play softball with stunt people, I should say, like
Okay.
not like stunt softball where we all hit each other. But the amount of people I've seen like pull a quad just from like running to first base as fast as you can, I was like, yeah, for sure, running's a stunt. Like I have a friend who worked on Jurassic World, and all he had to do was run, but he ran 10 days straight. Like he had to run every single day he got there. Like, do you want an actor doing that? And it's like ground is like you could trip and like fall. Like, no, I totally agree.
some of the best things you worked on. Share with us something that your most memorable things. Something, maybe a work that you're most proud of. I mean, I know what you have. I know what you have coming up. So
Yeah.
I wish you could talk about it, but
Yeah. I mean, even that, like, I'm not doing too much, but it's still cool to
No, it's
be
pretty
there.
amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, WandaVision was really fun just to be there, even though I was a PA. I guess
any stunt performance that you're very proud of, that took a lot of preparation or anything. Like, by the way, how long does that? Because like you were saying, some of these stunt performers show up on the day, they don't even know what they're doing. But what about like the stunts, like when you're choreographing and all that? Like,
yeah.
what's an average choreography takes for like a 101 fight or something like? I mean, I
Gosh.
guess based on the length of it, but like,
Yeah, if you have time, like I know some people get like a week, but then they always change it. So you have to be prepared for that. Because, like you'll get the choreography and then producers are like, nah. And you're like, okay. And then you get to set and they're like, actually, could you, and you already changed it. And they're like, oh, okay, yeah.
Nice.
Or like, it's not working for this angle. Can you do something else? So
right.
it's always like being prepared that way, especially on TV. I think it's so much faster. I mean, yeah, it's like get a couple days out, and then I do a lot of indie stuff too, and I know now, like, if I'm going to be fighting actors, like, I want as many rehearsals as they'll give me. I'm like, yeah, if we could like choreograph this, like,
To avoid the punches.
oh my god. Yeah. Because if they're like in character, it's like, yeah.
Those method character actors.
Yeah. But yeah, so I'm part of this trilogy, Immortal Wars, and the second one, I got to work with my good friend Tech. He was the fight coordinator, and he like let me like choreographed some stuff on that too.
Amazing.
Yeah, it was cool. It was like a step up from the first one, like camera wise, like crew wise. It was really cool, and I'd say I'm proud of that. Like what came out of that. Yeah, it was cool because I'm the lead character and I get to like, because like the first one I'm kind of like I don't want to fight, and the second one I finally get to like kick ass. So I was like, yeah, I do the scene where I'm like kicking these people in the face and throwing them on each other.
Do you communicate with the director as a stunt performer as well, or mainly with the stunt coordinator? Do you like to be talking with the director, kind of what he's looking for as well?
Yeah, I mean, if yeah,
Given the opportunity.
yeah, but what's cool about like the big sets is the coordinator is like your director, you know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was
Yeah.
trying to. But like, does he then just usher you guys and tell you like you guys do the thing, or does the director come in and interject? Do you like both versions? Or?
Yeah, I would say like sometimes if it's a big group, you know, it's only a coordinator. But if it's like just you and the director like knows what he wants, he's like, hey, can you do this instead? Like I would rather have that than like hearing it.
Yeah,
through
the
different
telephone, like
yes, you're like well,
go
no.
through the proper. You can't talk to him. You have to
Yeah,
talk.
yeah,
Yeah. That's like probably one of the number one things I could dislike about the film sets. But I understand why it's in place too.
I do too.
You cannot. It would be just too much chaos if everybody was just talking. You know.
Everybody could talk to
Yeah.
everybody. Yeah, it would. I mean, yeah, you've been on those sets where everybody tries to be the cook, and it's just like
Yeah.
nothing gets done. You're
Everybody's
like,
getting
oh
cut.
my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, what would you say is the most important thing for a stunt coordinator on set, or stunt performer? Sorry.
Be ready for anything.
When you guys get there, like, what's your number one thing that you do? Probably stretch or warm up, or
That's tricky because you could be performing multiple times in that day, or because you don't want to get there and stretch and then you're not performing till the last scene, right?
So look at the call sheet and the schedule of the
If
day,
you
and
have
then
it,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
I would.
You don't give you like you don't even know what scenes you're doing.
I know.
What's going on in this?
No,
What?
it really just depends. Like I would
gotta
say,
talk to my stunt coordinator and be like, hey, you gotta let your people know what they're doing, man.
it really depends. Honestly, like if you're there a lot, you'll probably know what's going on, or it just really just depends. Like, hey, you're just doing this. They don't have time to
believe
tell
you guys
you.
are not on the call sheet.
Well,
Of like, hey, here's the scene.
we would be on the call
73,
sheet, but
75, 83. You know, like
yeah,
this is when we're starting this one, starting that one.
yeah. I mean, but sometimes you don't always get to look at that. I mean, I know what I'm looking at when I'm looking at a call sheet, but it's a lot. I mean, I would say, you know,
Interesting.
but yeah, I mean, not to like, people would let you know, but I've been on sets, like, especially like little TV things where I've had to been like, hey, to the stunt performer, hey, you're not going on, they're not going to get you a shot to like the last one. If you want to go chill in your trailer,
Right.
you know? So yeah, for me, it's like bring your whole stunt bag and that has all your pads, has, some people need like lifts.
Are you the one that brings the pads and all that stuff?
Yeah. I mean, the coordinator will have some,
Right.
but a good performer will have their own pads. They'll have like sometimes a wetsuit if it gets cold. So they'll throw in a wetsuit on your wardrobe, or, you know, like tights if they need to like cover up some pads or something like that. And sometimes women, we don't get to wear pads because everything's too tight anyways. So bring all your pads, your little inserts. I bring my vest, my jerk vest, and yeah, just always have that with you. And then my main thing is like checking in with the coordinator. Hey, I'm here if you need
So
me.
basically, women are more badass than the guys.
Hey, I've seen stunts where guys are like naked, and like I had a friend who just did one where he had fallen in the shower like 5 times. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. But now you know how it feels. Yeah.
This was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah,
Jackie, thank you so
Oh
much
my
for
God,
coming.
So
This was
happy.
amazing.
I'm very happy. Thank
I
you.
will definitely love to have you back on when you come back from this big thing that you got going for yourself this year, and
Yeah,
talk about
for
more
sure.
of that. Hopefully, by the way, you make great connections there, and it will lead to one thing to another to another to
I
another.
hope so. Yeah. Thank you.
All right, this
And
was fun.
hopefully we get to work together too.
Absolutely,
that'd be
love
awesome.
to.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
This was awesome.
Wow. Yeah.